Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome inside Jack Tripp Field at Taunton High School in Taunton, Massachusetts, as Milford TV is happy to bring you coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics. Once again, this is Tim Coet on the call. I'll be joined on the broadcast today by Anthony Mazzini as we bring you the Division I South Championship game. The number 2-seeded Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks taking on the number 1-seeded Silver Lake Lady Lakers. This is a rivalry that has been brewing over the better part of the last 5 years, and very excited now to see it play out on the biggest stage in this Division I South Championship game. The road for these two teams, for Milford, we know it by now, the victory over Plymouth North in round 1, a mercy rule victory over Norwood in round 2, setting up a semifinal matchup against the number 3-seeded Hopkinton Lady Hillers, a much closer game, a game that unfolded on this very field just 2 days ago. We were here on the coverage. Milford getting home run power out of Emily Pierre-Gustavo and also Emily Hartman. A solo shot from Emily Pierre-Gustavo, a 2-run homer in the 6th inning off of Emily Hartman's bat. And those were the two biggest hits in the game. Milford producing 6 runs in all on the day. And Allie Atherton battling through 6 1/3 innings, holding Hopkinton in check. The Hillers pushing Atherton to the limit at times, loading the bases twice through the middle innings of that game, but Allie able to minimize the damage. Ultimately, Kelly Reichert came out to earn the save, and when the dust settled, it was a 6-3 victory for Milford, propelling them on to this Division I South final. On the other side of the bracket, the Silver Lake Lakers, once again on the back of an undefeated regular season, entered into this playoff bracket as the 1 seed. They suffered a scare in round 1 against an upstart Bridgewater Raynham team, but Silver Lake ultimately able to eke out a 7-6 victory. It's been smooth sailing since then, a 7-1 win in what was a rematch of last year's Division I South final. Silver Lake and King Philip matching up in the quarterfinal round, and Silver Lake earning a 7-1 win. They followed that up with a semifinal matchup with the 12th-seeded North Attleboro Lady Rocketeers, again played out here in Taunton on Thursday. And Silver Lake once again bringing out the big bats. They scored 12 runs in the game and ultimately walked away with a 12-5 victory. And so that set up a matchup of the 1 seed and the 2 seed here in the final, and also bringing back a rivalry that has played out in the postseason for each of the previous 2 years. Milford fans know it well. Matching up with Silver Lake in the quarterfinal round of this Division I South bracket in both 2015 and 2016. Both of those games took place at Silver Lake Regional High School, and Silver Lake was able to walk away with victories in each of those games, ending Milford's season the last 2 years in a row. So hoping for a different result here today. And as I bring in my broadcast partner for the game now, Anthony Mazzini. Anthony, it seemed like these two teams were on a collision course for one another all season long, and now excited to get to see this matchup play out again on this big stage here in the finals.
Well, you can look at this one of two ways, Tim. The, I guess, good way is Milford didn't have to play Silver Lake in the quarterfinal matchup like they have the last 2 years. The bad way to look at it is now they have to play them now in the final where it really matters the most. So this is a Milford team that clearly has struggled against King Philip dating back to the regular season the last couple of years. They did play a home-and-home series the last couple of years, 1-4 versus the Lakers over the last couple of years. So Milford is looking to turn their fortunes around. Like I said, luckily they're playing them now in the final. They've ended up on different sides of the bracket. Silver Lake always seems to get one of those top 4 or 5 seeds, while Milford the last couple of years has jumped around from a 13, and now they're going back to a number 2 seed. So luckily this year they ended up on opposite sides of the bracket. This is where they meet now. It should be a great game. We've had some great games between these two in the past. So, I mean, Silver Lake's going to bring a stacked lineup, but Milford just has an even stacked lineup as well. So it's going to be a close contest. But if history shows us anything, Silver Lake probably has the advantage. But if Milford has anything in this game, it's momentum to not only win the district final, but also to upset the Lady Lakers in what has really been a dominant series by the Lakers over Milford in years past.
Yeah, you look back to these last few years, they've matched up a total of 4 times in the previous 2 seasons. That was a regular season meeting and then a meeting in the playoffs. The first time they matched up in the regular season back on May 20th of 2015, Silver Lake was once again en route to an undefeated season when they came to Milford in what turned out to be an instant classic game. It's a game that people still enjoy watching back on our YouTube channel for Milford TV, a game that went 11 innings. It saw Milford trailing 1-0 with 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th inning. Maggie Farrell providing a clutch hit to tie the game. Farrell would later hit a home run in extra innings, and also Jill Powers contributing with some solid offense in clutch moments in extra innings as well, and it ended up being a 4-3 11-inning win for Milford over Silver Lake, again ending their bid for a perfect season back in 2015. The teams met up again in the 2015 playoffs, and it ended up being another close one, but Silver Lake able to take it by a final of 2-0. The regular season matchup last season took place at Silver Lake. It was a 5-2 win for the Lady Lakers, and they followed that up with a 5-0 victory over Milford in the quarterfinals last year, eliminating the Lady Hawks from the playoffs. So again, in those 4 matchups, just 1 win for Milford in that time, but really all of the games have been close, Anthony. And the other interesting aspect coming into this game is this is a Silver Lake team that experienced a fair amount of turnover coming into this season. We will not see Maddie Baroni in the circle this season. She has moved on now to Southern New Hampshire University. She's been replaced by Jill Richards, who certainly has not missed a beat, pitching very well in the circle as well. But some different faces here on this Silver Lake team. We'll see if that leads to a different result on the field.
And you alluded to it, Tim. Clearly, this team has not missed a beat. The top 5 hitters in this lineup were Keenan Division All-Stars. Of course, the Patriots League, which Silver Lake plays in, is divided into the Fisher and Keenan divisions. Within the Keenan division, 5 players from Silver Lake, all their top 5 hitters are all-stars in that division. And as you mentioned, Jill Richards, she's just not only a factor in the circle, but also a factor at the plate as well. So this Silver Lake team clearly has not missed a beat, and they're going to give Milford a run for their money. I don't think that turnover from a couple years ago is going to make much of a difference, because clearly they just reloaded. There hasn't been a rebuilding season, but Milford returns a lot of faces from last year. They only lost 2 seniors from last year's squad, so this is an experienced Milford squad. So if anything, Milford has the experience just as much as Silver Lake has the reload they went through this season.
And of course, as you look at this Milford roster, there are plenty of players with a lot of history in this matchup. And first and foremost amongst them is Allie Atherton, who will take the circle once again in these playoffs. And once again, she will match up against this potent Silver Lake offense. Allie's had her ups and downs trying to contain the Silver Lake offense in past seasons. The ERA certainly not what she wants it to be heading into this matchup. But Anthony, we've seen Allie continue to improve her game and take it to new levels each of the 4 years that she has been the varsity starter in the circle for this team. And once again, she'll look to make those adjustments, matching up against this team for the 5th time now in her varsity career.
She's really been dominant through her 4 years at the program. And yeah, Silver Lake's giving her a little bit of a problem, but I mean, naturally so. They've been one of the best teams in the state for quite some time. And you look at Atherton's stats over the course of the playoffs: 16 hits in 16 1/3 innings. A lot of those came against Hopkinton last time out. They gave her a little bit of a problem, but still only 1 earned run so far through these playoff games. 4 runs total, but only 1 of them earned. So Allie Atherton is probably one of the best pitchers that Milford could hope for to go up against Silver Lake. And with the experience she has against the Silver Lake roster, she's going to have a lot of momentum and a lot of drive behind her today to finally get a win against Silver Lake.
And certainly you look at the final scores of the games that each of these 2 teams have played in the playoffs. That 7-6 win really stands out for Silver Lake. They barely escaped round 1 with a victory against Bridgewater Raynham before keeping North Attleboro and King Philip a little bit more in check. But Jill Richards allowing those 6 runs in the game against Bridgewater Raynham, allowing 5 runs in the game against North Attleboro here a couple of days ago. So it's maybe not that same level that we saw out of Maddie Baroni, who set the bar so high for this for the Silver Lake pitching staff. So Jill Richards, she's given up a couple of runs in these playoffs, and she has to face a Milford offense that's very tough, of course, themselves, featuring Emily Pierre-Gustavo, the number 2 hitter in this lineup, who, as we learned from Coach DeVito on Thursday, was named the Hockomock League MVP for softball this year. Emily contributing 3 runs batted in, including a home run. And we also know the rest of the Thunder that's in this lineup. Jess Tomaso has had a fabulous playoff run. A lot of these Lady Hawks players really featured a lot of great offensive stats in the wins earlier on in the playoffs. So we talk about the dominance on the Silver Lake side, but you certainly cannot take this Milford offense lightly.
Absolutely. I mean, Milford's jacked a couple of home runs of their own over these 3 games so far in the playoffs, and you just look up and down the lineup, there's really no weak spot in this lineup. Even once you get to the 7, 8, 9 spots, there's at the very least, maybe it's not the power, but it's the getting on base, it's the sacrifice, it's the little things that help a team come away with victories. So, I mean, like I said, only 2 seniors were lost from last year's team. The experience is there, the drive is there. Milford wants to beat Silver Lake, 1-4 over the past couple seasons against the Lakers. So, I mean, this is a team that wants to come out and win this game. They want to get back to the state semifinals and hopefully the finals. So, I mean, there's a lot of momentum on each side, but this is a very stacked Milford lineup, and Jill Richards is, even though she's the MVP of the Keenan division within the Patriots League, she's going to have her work cut out for her today.
And we should point out, too, the conditions here are certainly hitter-friendly in Taunton. There has been a steady, at times gusting breeze blowing out to left center field. So you can get one up in that jet stream. It is going to travel a long way on this field here today. So a good sign perhaps for these two offenses, which we know can hit the ball very, very hard. So as we continue to get ready for this game, again, we're just moments away from the scheduled first pitch time. Let's bring you the starting lineups for these two teams. We'll start with the visiting lineup, and for this game, that is the Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks. For the first time in the playoffs, they will operate as the road team, and their lineup looks like this. Kate Irwin leads it off in center field. Emily Pierre-Gustavo, the shortstop, bats second. Maggie Farrell, the left fielder, bats third, with Jess Tomaso playing first base in the cleanup spot. Caitlin DeCapua plays third and bats fifth, with Emily Hartman, the catcher, batting sixth. Kelly Reichert is the designated player, batting seventh, with Maddie Bonvino at second base, batting eighth. And in the ninth spot is the right fielder, Shannon Cormier. And for the Silver Lake Lady Lakers, their lineup looks like this. The center fielder, Kelly Danahy, leads it off. Caroline Vedetto, the shortstop, bats second, with Emily Critch, the catcher, batting third. Jill Richards is the starting pitcher in the cleanup spot, with Anna Batista, the right fielder, batting fifth. Alex Ruprecht, the second baseman, bats sixth, with Amanda Harris playing first base, batting seventh. Hannah Mitchell is the designated player, batting eighth, and Izzy Ruprecht is the left fielder, batting ninth. And we should point out one player flexed out of the lineup for Silver Lake. It is Ari Sylvester, playing third base, only in the lineup defensively for this Division I South Championship game. And your pitching matchup, it will be Allie Atherton getting the start once again in the circle for Milford, and she will be opposed by Jill Richards. She will be out there as this top of the first inning gets underway. In just a few short moments from now, we can see now the captains gathered around home plate along with the head coaches. Steve DeVito, the head coach for the Lady Scarlet Hawks, very thrilled with the performance from his team in the semifinals. We had a chance to catch up with him after the game. And of course, the head coach for Silver Lake is Tony Pina, who's been very gracious to us, providing us a lot of information for his team ahead of this matchup. Of course, we've had an opportunity to talk to Coach Pina with regularity over these last couple of seasons, as again, we have watched this matchup play out several times in the last couple of seasons. It will be Milford and Silver Lake tangling once again in the playoffs, a trip to the state semifinals on the line. It is the Division I South Championship game. The number 2 seeded Scarlet Hawks and the number 1 seeded Lakers. We will have the first pitch in this playoff game when we come back next, so stay tuned to coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics on Milford TV. Right back inside Jack Tripp Field. It is game time. The Division I South Championship about to get underway, and Silver Lake moments away from taking the field, as it will be the Milford Lady Hawks who will bat first in this championship game. As we mentioned in the open, Milford serving as the road team for the first time in these 2017 playoffs, so we will see Kate Irwin, Emily Pierre-Gustavo, and Maggie Farrell come to the plate against the starting pitcher for Silver Lake, Jill Richards. Phenomenal regular season numbers for Richards. She went 20-0 in the regular season with an ERA of 1.35 in 119 innings pitched. She struck out 132 batters to just 20 walks. So a dominant performance from Richards, and she has continued to pitch well in this postseason as well. So she makes her warm-up tosses in the circle right now, and I would like to welcome in all of our viewers joining us for this live coverage of the Division I South Championship game. Once again, bringing you live streaming coverage courtesy of the live stream app. This will be the final time we will have the opportunity to go live in 2017 should Milford advance. We unfortunately, due to MIAA regulations, we will be unable to live stream those games. We would still cover them, but this is the final time we will be able to go live this season. Excited to once again bring you live coverage of this Lady Hawks softball team. As this game is set to get underway, Tim Coet and Anthony Mazzini on the call for the Division I South final. And Kate Irwin now, the left-handed batter, digs in for her first at-bat in this championship round. Awaiting the first pitch from Richards. It is on the way, and that pitch is up and in for ball one. Kate coming into this game today between regular season and playoffs combined with a .437 batting average. Here's the 1-0 pitch, and that's up once again. Kate struck out in her first at-bat in the semifinals, but was able to come through with a clutch bunt single in the middle innings of the game as Milford was able to extend their lead. There she takes a look at a strike, bringing the count to 2-1. Kate going officially 1 for 2 in the game on Thursday. That bunt single, she scored a run. She also had a sacrifice bunt in the later innings. And now takes a called strike 2, so all evened up at 2-2.
Overall, Irwin is 5 for 11 during the postseason play. That spans over 3 games for Milford. She also has a stolen base when she gets on.
Here's the 2-2 pitch, and that one sent foul to the backstop. As we mentioned, a lot of these players with a lot of history against Silver Lake. Kate Irwin, in her career against the Lady Lakers, is 2 for 9. She has struck out 4 times against Silver Lake pitching. Of course, all of those at-bats taking place against Maddie Baroni. Here's another 2-2, and that is swung on and missed. So another K for Irwin as Richards starts off the game strong with her first strikeout.
Richards having to battle back in that count, falling 2-0 to Irwin, but threw a couple of heaters at the top of the strike zone to strike Irwin out for the first out of the game.
That brings Emily Pierre-Gustavo to the plate. Takes an off-speed pitch on the inside part of the plate for strike one. Emily, of course, in the first inning on Thursday, blasted a solo home run over the left field fence. As we mentioned, breezy conditions here, making it very conducive for the long ball.
Should have brought my glove.
1 ball and 1 strike is the count. The next pitch is hit hard on the ground, right back to the circle. Richards has it. She fires to first, and it's 2 up and 2 down for Milford. Defensively for the Silver Lake Lady Lakers, it is Emily Critch behind the plate, Ari Sylvester, the third baseman, Caroline Vedetto at short, Alex Ruprecht at second, and Amanda Harris at first. Left to right in the outfield, Izzy Ruprecht, Kelly Danahy, and Anna Batista. So that last play going 1-3. And that leaves the inning up to Maggie Farrell, who takes the first pitch low and outside for ball 1.
Tim, we all know what Farrell can do. She blasted a home run a couple games ago. Leads this team with 9 RBIs during the postseason.
And now ahead in the count, 2 balls and no strikes. That home run for Maggie came back in the quarterfinal matchup against Norwood, the final game at Milford High School this year, and that was a grand slam off the bat of Farrell. She hits this one hard. That's through back up the middle for a base hit. Fielded quickly by Danahy. There's the first hit of the game for Milford, a 2-out single for Farrell.
And sometimes that's all it takes with this Milford lineup, just extending innings. Farrell doing a good job getting a pitch she could handle, lining it right back up the middle, and gets dangerous behind her. Stepping in Jess Tommaso now. We all know what she can do too. Always a threat for the long ball.
Jess was eerily quiet here 2 days ago against Hopkinton, going 0 for 3. She had been red hot in the team's first 2 playoff games. She had 3 hits against Norwood, including a run batted in. Also had a couple of doubles and 3 runs batted in round 1 against Plymouth North. A big swing and a miss. Now a snap throw down to first. Farrell gets back in standing. And it's a quick no ball, 2 strike count on the cleanup hitter, Jess Tommaso. Farrell at first as the wind continues to howl here.
Get one in the air now, it's going a long way.
And a defensive swing that time from Tommaso. She was able to just make contact.
4 RBIs in the postseason so far for Tommaso. That includes a 5 for 11 hitting mark.
Still nothing into the count. The next pitch is hit hard on the ground to shortstop. Vedetto has it. She throws across the infield in time to get the out that ends the inning. So Milford does get a hit, but they cannot score. And we'll head to the bottom of the first inning next. The first at bats for Silver Lake when we come back next here on Milford TV. A scoreless top of the first inning. And now it will be Allie Atherton preparing to battle the Silver Lake offense. Once again, her 5th start now in her career against Silver Lake. She's thrown 27 innings against Silver Lake so far. She's allowed a total of 32 hits, 10 earned runs. She's walked 3 and struck out 10 in those starts against Silver Lake, but phenomenal numbers overall on the season for Allie, where she comes in with a .91 ERA, opponents batting .207 for this 2007 year against Atherton.
So far in the postseason, as I kind of alluded to in the open, not her true dominant self, really. She hasn't been mowing them down. Of course, a lot of that is due to a little bit of an uptick in competition once you get to the tournament. She has allowed 16 hits in only 16 in the 3rd innings of work. A lot of that did come against Hopkinton. She allowed 10 hits and 3 walks, but overall still only 1 earned run in this postseason so far. But as we mentioned, Silver Lake has given her a little bit of a trouble so far in her 4 starts, this being her 5th.
Kelly Danahy, the first batter in this Silver Lake lineup, and she takes a first pitch strike from Atherton. Danahy, along with Caroline Vedetto and Emily Critch, the top 3 batters in the order. And those are 3 familiar names. A lot of turnover on this roster, but the top 3 batters are longtime veterans of this team. A 1-ball, 1-strike count now on Danahy playing center field. Atherton's pitch, and this is hit on the ground to second. Bonvino plays it cleanly and fires quickly to first to get the out.
Bonvino electing to use the underhand toss that time to get the speedy Danahy. Short distance between second and first, so a little bit of a safer bet going with the underhand toss to get the first out.
Milford has played superb defense so far in these playoffs, and Maddie Bonvino in particular making a number of strong plays defensively at second base, including getting the final out in the victory over Hopkinton. As now Atherton fires in a strike right at the bottom of the zone to Caroline Vedetto. Milford has made just one error so far in these playoffs. The defense a real source of strength for this team. Here's the 0-1 pitch, and that's a little bit outside. Defensively for Milford, it is Emily Hartman behind the plate, Caitlin DeCapua at third, Emily Pierre-Gustavo at short, Maddie Bonvino at second, and Jess Tomaso at first. Left to right, Maggie Farrell, Kate Irwin, and Shannon Cormier. This ball popped up on the right side of the infield, and it is Bonvino again who makes the play, this time in the air for out number 2. 2 fast outs for Atherton. She'd love to pace her outing with a quick and easy first.
Looks like Atherton's keeping the ball away from Silver Lake hitters, forcing them to hit the ball weakly to the right side of the field towards Bonvino.
Here's Emily Critch now, a dangerous power hitter. Takes the first pitch low for ball 1. Critch on the season batting .434. She has 37 runs batted in and 7 home runs. And Atherton keeping the ball down. She's missed the zone with these first 2 pitches.
Tim, kind of interesting to note, this is the 3rd Hockomock League team that Silver Lake has had to play so far in these D1 South, this D1 South tournament. Of course, playing King Philip, North Attleboro, and now Milford. Kind of interesting how that works. You know, usually when you get to the tournament, you play teams from all sorts of leagues and divisions and whatever you want to call it, but Silver Lake so far has had to play 3 Hockomock League teams.
Hockomock, of course, chock full of Division I South teams. Here's a 3-0 pitch now, and that is in for a strike. That previous pitch borderline not going Atherton's way, but this time she gets the strike call. And the count goes to 3-1 with 2 outs and the bases empty in the bottom of the first. And that one fouled away. Bit of a defensive swing that time out of Critch. She reached out for that one, was just able to get it off the end of the bat.
Looks like Atherton maybe pulled the string on that one, didn't go with her fastball, and had Critch a little bit out in front, maybe a little confused, was expecting the fastball with the 3-1 count.
So now it is full. Here is the payoff pitch, and it's grounded back up the middle. Waiting for it is Pierre-Gustavo. She throws to first to get the out. And Atherton enjoys a 1-2-3 first inning. No runs allowed for either team in the first. We head on to the second inning of this Division I South final. It is scoreless between Milford and Silver Lake here on Milford TV. Right into the top of the second inning now. Milford will send batters 5, 6, and 7 to the plate against Jill Richards. Caitlin DeCapua, the senior captain, to lead it off. And Richards' first pitch of the inning is sent in the air out to left field, and that is going to drop in for a base hit. You had both Danahy and Ruprecht playing deep in the outfield, and neither could track that ball dying midway out there on the center field grass, so a leadoff single for DeCapua.
And DeCapua continues to swing a hot bat, now her 6th hit so far in this MIAA D1 South tournament. Puts her batting average to an even .500.
And that brings Emily Hartman to the plate. And she takes a healthy cut at the first pitch and fouls it away. The last time we saw Emily Hartman at the plate, she blasted a 2-run home run in the bottom of the 6th inning to give Milford a 5-run lead against Hopkinton. Those 2 insurance runs were sorely needed, as it turned out, making things a little bit more comfortable for Milford in the 7th. Now she pops this ball up. It will stay on the infield. No, just a step or 2 on the outfield. A tricky play, as it turned out, for the shortstop Vedetto. Looked like the wind might have played with that one, but Vedetto stayed with it to make the catch for out number 1 of the inning.
Not an easy play that time for Vedetto. That ball just kind of kept carrying. We've mentioned the win a couple of times. Looked like it was going to be a lazy pop fly to the infield, but carried into shallow left field. But good play by Vedetto to record the first out.
Now it's Kelly Reichert. She pops the first pitch up that she sees, but it floats off behind the first base dugout. The Lady Hawks occupying the first base dugout area with Silver Lake down the third base side.
One thing I like about Milford early is they're swinging early in the count. You don't, especially against a pitcher like Richards, you don't want to fall behind early in the count. Get those 1-2, 0-2 counts. It's an easy victim to be a punch out.
And now a swing and a miss. And Reichert down in the count, 0-2. Had a good regular season at the plate. Did Reichert, batting .308. Her first time as a regular offensive presence for Milford in her varsity career.
Struggling in the postseason, though, only 1 for 8. Make it 1 for 9.
Set down on a called strike 3. It's the second strikeout of the game for Richards. And after Milford had the leadoff runner on, DeCapua remains at first now with 2 outs. And that leaves the inning up to Maddie Bonvino. And Maddie takes the first pitch for ball 1. Maddie has been very successful at the plate so far in these playoffs. Digs in now on the right side. The next pitch on the way from Richards, and that's a strike.
5 for 8 during these playoffs, including a couple of RBIs for Bonvino. So pretty much everyone in this Milford lineup has been swinging a hot bat, which really is just carried over from the regular season. Everyone swinging the bat very well during the regular season for the Lady Hawks.
Now this one popped up behind the plate, and that's over the backstop. Critch did not get a good sight line on that ball off the bat of Bonvino, but it ended up drifting off the field of play. And it's now a 1-ball, 2-strike count with 2 outs and DeCapua at first. And the next one on the way, and it is swung on and missed. That fastball getting past the bat of Maddie Bonvino. Back-to-back Ks for Jill Richards. And that is all she wrote for the top half of the second inning. The leadoff hit goes by the boards. And we have played an inning and a half now from Jack Tripp Field here in Taunton. It remains scoreless between Milford and Silver Lake in the Division I South Championship game here on Milford TV. Jill Richards, the starting pitcher, will lead it off at the plate for Silver Lake in the bottom half of the second inning. No runs on the scoreboard so far. Milford with a pair of hits. And Atherton now set for her second inning of work.
Richards, Tim Richards, the MVP of the Keenan division within the Patriots League, which Silver Lake plays in, as well as one of 5 All-Stars for this Silver Lake team. Those 5 All-Stars happen to be the 1 through 5 hitters in this Silver Lake lineup.
And the first pitch of the at-bat does not miss by much, but it's ruled ball 1. Very good offensive numbers for Richards. Silver Lake not missing a beat offensively or in the pitcher circle for the starting pitcher spot. Richards taking over seamlessly from Maddie Baroni. And in reading about this team prior to the game, Richards very patient. She waited on the bench for 3 years for an opportunity to take on a starting role, really embracing it this season as she takes that pitch down in the dirt.
Safe to say she's made the most of it, whether it be in the circle or at the dish. She's certainly done her job to propel this Silver Lake team to where they are. I mean, the accolades speak for themselves. As I mentioned, MVP, All-Star. I mean, she had to wait for it, but she's proving her worth now.
Here's the 2-1 pitch, and it's hit on the ground towards third base. DeCapua has it. Plenty of time to throw across to get the out. 5-3 on the putout. And Atherton so far pitching to contact successfully through these first 4 batters. She's gotten 3 ground outs and a pop out. Not a lot of hard contact off these Silver Lake bats so far.
And she, like I said, she hasn't really been mowing them down. Only 1 strikeout in that game against Hopkinton. She piled up pretty much 1 strikeout per inning in the regular season, but that hasn't been the case so far in the playoffs. Only 11 through 16 in the third innings pitched, I should say. Excuse me. So she's pitched well, but she hasn't pitched to her usual self, using the defenders behind her.
Anna Batista now with a count of no balls and 1 strike. And Atherton quickly getting ahead now, 0-2. Batista, another familiar name in this lineup. We've seen her in these previous 2 battles between these schools in the playoffs. In the number 5 hole, here's the 0-2 pitch, and she wouldn't chase. Milford playing pretty deep in the outfield. Again, the dimensions here, 195 feet to both foul lines. As now this ball is sent foul down the first base line, and Jess Tomaso nearly colliding with the Silver Lake first base coach.
Not sure if she would have had that one either way, but definitely made it a lot tougher of a play for Tomaso at first base, having to dive to her left. And if the first base coach weren't in the way, she might have had a better chance, but I still think that one, because it was hit so weakly, she wouldn't have had a shot.
Keeps the at-bat alive with a count of 1 ball and 2 strikes. Wind up and the pitch, and this is floated out to second, and a leaping catch made by Maddie Bonvino. Not a lot of height at second base for Bonvino, but she used every inch to reel in that line drive for out number 2.
And it wasn't hit all that hard by Batista, but just almost getting over the head of Bonvino. Almost found a little bit of space between Cormier and Bonvino on the right side of the field, but Bonvino with a great catch, leaping up and snow coning it a little bit. And like you said, not much height, but using it effectively.
On contact, it looked like she'd have no chance to make that catch, but timed the jump absolutely perfectly and made another great defensive play for out number 2 of the inning. And now a 1 ball, no strike count on Alex Ruprecht, the second baseman. And she floats this ball in foul territory behind first. No chance for either Tomaso or Hartman to make a play.
A lot of contact off the end of the bat for these Lady Laker hitters. Testament to Atherton keeping the ball away as well as changing speeds effectively.
2 outs and the base is empty in the bottom of the second inning. No score. And this ball hit softly to second. A brief bobble for Bonvino. She shuffles the throw to first and still gets it there in time. A tricky play for Bonvino as she came in on that ball, then had to play it on a hop, but she was able to recover to collect out number 3. And so far, the first 6 batters in this Silver Lake lineup have been set down in order by Allie Atherton. We move on to the top of the 3rd inning. When we come back, it is still no score in this Division I South Championship game right here on Milford TV. So far, 4 of the first 6 outs recorded for Milford in this game have come courtesy of Maddie Bonvino, getting tested early and often at second base, but she has been up to the challenge, making a nice leaping play and fielding that ground ball to end the inning. And now Milford sends up batters 9, 1, and 2 against Richards. Shannon Cormier now battling with a 1 ball, 1 strike count.
She's provided good production from the bottom of the lineup so far, 3 for 8 in Milford's 3 postseason games so far.
Sends that one to the backstop, and the count goes to 1 and 2. A very good season overall for Shannon Cormier, batting .406 regular season and playoffs combined. Lets that pitch go high, evening the count at 2 and 2.
As a team this season, Milford hit .429. That includes the 3 playoff games, but I mean, a .429 batting average as a team, you're doing something right.
As now this ball is floated out to shallow center field, and another base hit for the Lady Hawks. It's their 3rd hit of the game, and for the 2nd straight inning, they put the leadoff runner on.
And so far, Richards has worked her way out of trouble, but she's kind of living on the edge right now, allowing a couple of runners in each inning so far. So she's worked her way out with strikeouts, but eventually these Milford bats are going to catch up to Richards.
And you have to imagine Irwin's going to be looking to bunt here. It's a situation we often see Irwin put down the bunt. She holds up on the swing and takes a strike.
Looks like Coach DeVito wanted to confirm whether that was on the swing or whether it was a called strike. That pitch looked to be a little bit low. At first glance, it looked like the umpire called that Irwin offered at the pitch, but she clearly held the bat back.
And the home plate umpire now has traveled all the way down the third base line to have an up-close conversation with Coach DeVito.
Coach DeVito doing him no favors by meeting him halfway. I mean, I'm not sure if Coach DeVito was expecting him to walk all the way out, but nonetheless, the home plate umpire traveling some distance to discuss that with Coach DeVito. Not sure if we're getting a reclassification of the call or if it's going to stand. Looks like it's going to stand.
They still have it as a no ball, one strike count on the scoreboard. We do see a three-man umpiring crew for this championship game. Up until this point, it's been the standard two-man umpiring crew, but adding an additional infield ump, so right now positioned at first and second base. As it's now a one ball, one strike count to Irwin. She struck out in her first at bat. Now makes contact, floats it foul, and it ends up in the Silver Lake dugout.
With Irwin's speed, a sacrifice bunt almost always turns into a base hit, especially from that left side of the batter's box. So if she can get one on the ground here, there's a good chance Milford can at least get a runner to second, if not first.
Here's the 1-2 pitch, and that one just misses. Cormier getting a big secondary lead at first, but retreating to the bag as the count stays 1-2. Nobody out and a runner on in the top half of the third. The next pitch from Richards, and that one is sent to the backstop.
Irwin swinging away now with 2 strikes. You don't want to risk that third strike on a failed bunt attempt.
Irwin making Jill Richards work in this at bat. About to see another 1-2 offering. She makes contact and again sends it foul, this time off towards the bleachers down the third base line. And as you can no doubt see, plenty of fans all the way around the field here at Jack Tripp Field in Taunton. A number of Milford fans in the house, plenty of Silver Lake fans as well. And a picture-perfect day for this championship game to unfold. Here's another 1-2. It's in the dirt. It goes to the backstop, and Cormier will advance to second base. A wild pitch. Charge to Jill Richards as that ball bounced in front of the dish, quickly scooted to the backstop, and now Milford getting their first runner in scoring position on the day.
That's the same result Milford wanted, but they still have Irwin at the plate, so they don't sacrifice Irwin.
And now this ball is hit to shortstop, a double clutch from Vedetto, and the throw to first is not in time. That's all it takes for Irwin to beat the throw. Just a little bit of a brief double clutch from the shortstop, Caroline Vedetto. And Irwin is able to beat it out for the infield hit. Cormier had to stay home at second, so now runners at first and second with nobody out.
And that shows the importance of getting Cormier to second on that pass ball. The reason Vedetto had to double clutch on that ball was because she had to look Cormier back. If she didn't have to look Cormier back, that's an easy play at first base. Even with Irwin's speed, it was a close play anyway, so she didn't have to double clutch. She's going to be out at first base, but because she had to look the runner back at second, that's all it took, as you said. Irwin's safe, and now runners at first and second, basically just like Irwin laid down a bunt and got on. So Milford now having 2 on with no outs.
And a conference now taking place in the pitcher's circle. And the two of the 3 umpires conferring. It looked like perhaps Coach Pina wanted them to double check that the throw was indeed late at first base. So the call does stand. Irwin beating it out on the infield base hit. So good speed at both first and second. Cormier the lead runner with Irwin at first, and now the big bat of Emily Pierre Gustavo with 2 runners aboard. And almost showing bunt on that first pitch, and she ended up taking a called strike.
Yeah, usually this would be an ideal situation to lay a bunt down and with the number 2 hitter to have the 3, 4, 5 behind, but not when you have Emily Pierre Gustavo with the plate. That was kind of shocking to see her square around. She's swinging this time.
Comes up empty and is quickly down in the count, 0-2. Emily, an integral part in Milford's semifinal victory with those 3 runs driven in. Now looking to protect the plate, down 0-2. And lets that pitch go. And a good understanding of the strike zone there, ends up taking ball 1.
I'm curious to know if Pierre Gustavo was showing bunt on her own or if that was something Coach DeVito wanted her to do.
Now the 1-2, and this is hit back to first. Now a bobble, and Harris takes it to the bag for the only out she'll get. And in the end, Milford does essentially get the sacrifice As Pierre Gustavo grounds it slowly to first, it pushes both runners along, now 2 in scoring position with just the 1 out.
Not hard hit that time by Pierre Gustavo, but an effective out nonetheless, hitting that ball to the right side. No play for the first baseman Harris at either second or third, so Silver Lake will take the out where they can get it, but Milford has 2 ducks on the pond with the number 3 hitter up.
Maggie Farrell loving this situation, as we know oh so well, and she has excelled in this spot against this very team, as we mentioned, in her sophomore year, with an incredible performance at the plate in extra innings to lead Milford to the only victory they've enjoyed against Silver Lake. Now takes that pitch down low.
That first pitch, Richards obviously knowing the situation and knowing that Farrell is a very capable hitter, pulling the string on that first pitch, had Farrell way out in front. Tried the same pitch again, but it missed in the dirt for ball 1.
And now that pitch missing maybe a little bit outside, a close one. It was framed well by Critch, but Richards not getting the call.
Seems like we have a little bit of a tight strike zone, at least on that lower outside half.
2 balls, 1 strike. The next pitch. And this time, Richards able to pull it back to the corner, evening the count at 2. These Milford fans cheering on the senior captain, Maggie Farrell, looking for another clutch hit out of her bat. As this pitch is in the dirt. And a good play by Critch to get down low and keep that ball in front of her.
Not much room behind home plate to the backstop here at Taunton High School, but with speed on the bases, you have to wonder if a ball gets by Critch, if Coach DeVito is going to elect to send Cormier from third.
It's a full count now on Farrell. 2 runners in scoring position. The payoff pitch, and this is blasted out to left center field on the move, and that's down for a hit. It's going to travel to the fence. 2 runs will come in for Milford on a 2-run double for Maggie Farrell, and Milford is on the scoreboard in this Division I final. They take a 2-0 lead. And Emily Hartman leading the charge out of the dugout. High fives all around as Milford deals the first blow in this championship game. And once again, it comes off the bat of the senior captain. She put that one in the left center gap for a 2-run double.
And I said it when the inning started, once Cormier led off with a single, these Milford bats are going to start to catch up to Richards, and that happened with that Farrell double.
And now a fly ball off Tommaso's bat out to right. And it's Batista who makes the catch. Farrell stays put at second base with now 2 down. A 1 pitch out against Tommaso.
Chalk those 2 RBIs up as 10 and 11. So Maggie Farrell leading this postseason charge, at least offensively, for the Lady Hawks.
And now a 2-out RBI chance for Caitlin DeCapua. DeCapua 1 for 1. She led off last inning with a single. This is the first time Milford has led against Silver Lake in the postseason. The count even at 1. Farrell perched at second base. The next pitch, that's down and in. Another close one. A groan coming up from the Silver Lake fans as that was ruled ball 2. 2 runs in this inning so far for Milford, looking for more. As Richard settles back on the pitching rubber, here's the pitch. And this is lined out to center field for a hit. Farrell around third, a bobble out in center field for Danahy. The throw to the plate is not in time. Farrell scores on the RBI single for DeCapua, and Milford takes a 3-0 lead.
Milford just doing a great job of staying in these counts against Richard. Obviously, she's one of the better pitchers they're going to face all year, but they're doing a great job staying back and hitting the ball to the opposite field or right back up the middle. DeCapua doing a great job that time with 2 outs. Coach DeVito, an easy decision to send Farrell, and especially with the bobble out in center field by Danahy, made it even easier of a decision. And Milford takes a 3-0 lead early in this ball game.
It might have been a close play at the plate had Danahy come up with it cleanly, but that bobble took away any doubt as now Hartman swings at the first pitch, pops it up on the infield, again into that swirling breeze. But the second baseman, Alex Ruprecht, able to come down with it for the out that ends the inning, but Milford plates 3 runs, a 2-run double for Farrell, a 2-out RBI single for DeCapua. The captains leading the way as Milford takes a 3-0 lead on Silver Lake. We'll head to the bottom of the 3rd inning next here on Milford TV. Milford's offense springing to life in the top of the third inning. And again, the two senior captains in the lineup, Maggie Farrell and Caitlin DeCapua, coming through with RBI producing hits, the double to drive in 2 for Farrell, and then the RBI single for Caitlin DeCapua. And a big 3-0 lead in this championship game now for Milford. And the third senior captain, Allie Atherton, now with that lead to work with as she returns to the circle to face the bottom third of the Silver Lake lineup, Amanda Harris, to start it off. And she takes the first pitch away for ball 1.
This is a very important inning for Milford and Coach DeVito, especially after they jumped out to a 3-0 lead. Silver Lake, if anything, now has a lot of momentum, not momentum, but a lot of drive to get back in this game. You want to keep this advantage right now.
And on the move, Atherton able to make that catch on that shallow sinking liner, traveling to her left to make the play. And Harris out number 1 as Atherton takes care of it all by herself.
If you're Milford, you have the momentum right now. You don't want to give that back. So for Atherton, getting that first out is important, and getting these next 2 is even more important, especially after they spotted her 3 runs in the top of the third. Excuse me.
A called strike now into the designated player, Hannah Mitchell. We hear about it so much on the baseball field, that shutdown inning after the offense gives you the lead. As a pitcher, you want to go out there and take care of business as quickly as possible, as this ball is sliced to first, and a jumping catch made by Jess Tomaso. And it's 2 up and 2 down here in the third.
And it's just the same in softball. There's really no difference. Momentum swings can come and go in really any sport, and it's just the same in softball. Now 2 outs in this inning, and Atherton seems to be sticking to that kind of unwritten rule a little bit. You go out after your offense gives you a couple runs, you got to go out and shut them down. And Atherton's doing her part right now in the circle.
Sends in ball 1 to the number 9 hitter, Izzy Ruprecht. And the biggest difference between the semifinals and today might be the absence of a lot of left-handed hitters in this lineup. This 1-0 pitch now on the inside edge. Hopkinton featuring a good deal of left-handed batters in their order, and it looked like Atherton struggled against that left-handed heavy lineup, but having an easier time here against a more right-handed dominant team. A swing and a miss, and the count goes to 1-2.
And especially with lefties too, Tim. Obviously, I wasn't there. You had the chance to cover that game. But with lefties, you see a lot of that slashing, those hits, kind of the half swing attempts, those little bunt things down the third base line. So a lot of that could have thrown Atherton off as well. That you see those a lot of lefties more than righties.
The 1-2 pitch close, but ruled a ball. And all even now. The base is empty, 2 outs. Atherton is ready. Here's the 2-2 pitch, and it's sent foul off towards the first base side. Some of the Milford fans thinking that was strike 3, but Ruprecht able to make some contact. Should she reach, it would turn the lineup over. As another strong gust of wind blows straight out to left center field. Those flags out beyond the field of play, fully extended. Here's the pitch, and it's sent out in front of the plate. Tomaso has it, a foot race to the bag, and they get the out there to end the inning. Another 1-2-3 frame for Allie Atherton. And we will head right on to the 4th. It is Milford 3 and Silver Lake nothing on coverage of Milford High School softball in the 2017 MIAA playoffs right here on Milford TV. 3 runs on 6 hits with no errors for Milford. No runs, no hits, no errors for Silver Lake. Into the top of the 4th inning now as Richards will face Kelly Reichert to start the inning, who floats one out towards second base. And Alex Ruprecht able to make the catch. 1 pitch and 1 out.
Reichert's struggles continue. Reichert's struggles continue in the postseason. Now 1 for 10 so far through 3.5 games for the Lady Hawks.
That brings up Bonvino. She was a strikeout victim her first time up, but continuing to play superb defense. A tricky play there defensively to end the bottom half of the third. Bonvino involved covering the first base bag, but ended up not factoring in as Tommaso made the play unassisted. And here she pops one up foul down the first base line. It's the catcher who makes the play. Critch makes the catch, and it's 2 up and 2 down as now Richards looks to have a bounce back inning after allowing 3 runs on 4 hits in the third. Leaves the inning up to Shannon Cormier. She started the rally last inning, leading off with a single, and came around to score on the 2-run double by Maggie Farrell. Takes the first pitch outside for ball 1. No lead is safe against this potent Silver Lake offense, so Milford would love to continue to tack on. But the first 2 batters retired here in the 4th. One ball and 1 strike as this one is dribbled back towards the circle. The throw from Richards to first, and it is a lightning quick 1-2-3 inning as Richards does indeed bounce right back to retire the side in order. And we have now played 3.5 innings in this Division I South Championship game where Milford leads Silver Lake by a score of 3-0. More to come next here on Milford TV. Already into the bottom of the 4th inning, a fast-moving game so far. We're about 53 minutes in. This game getting a 4 p.m. first pitch. Earlier this afternoon, we watched West Bridgewater beat Greater New Bedford in what I believe was the Division III championship game, the Division III South championship. But here, all eyes on the 1 seed versus the 2 seed, Milford versus Silver Lake. The Lady Lakers going second time through their lineup as Kelly Danahy awaits the first pitch from Allie Atherton and takes it for a called strike 1. And this is another big difference from what we saw out of Allie Atherton a couple of days ago. She struggled to get those first pitch strikes. She's been doing it with regularity so far here today.
Not only that, but she's keeping the ball away from these Silver Lake hitters.
And now a line drive out to left field and a shoestring catch made by Maggie Farrell. She kept that one just off the turf to reel in out number 1.
Farrell doing a great job of charging in on that ball, making an outstanding play. As you mentioned, a shoestring catch. Not an easy play, that ball's sinking. But Farrell making it look easy in left field. She's doing it both with the bat and the glove.
And Anthony, you made the observation before the game. Maggie Farrell, with a position change for this 2017 season, she played a lot of right field and a lot of center field in her previous years. This is the first year she was the everyday left fielder, and she has assimilated to that position very well.
Yeah, it kind of struck me before the game. I wasn't quite sure what was different, but when I looked a little bit deeper, Irwin was now playing center and Farrell was in left. Usually those two were flip-flopped, but you know, it's a little bit easier for a center fielder to go to the corner outfield spot because, you know, rather than having basically an entire outfield to manage, now they only have a small corner, but Farrell's doing a great job out in left field. Really, this entire Milford team playing very effective defense this entire season, and it's showing in the playoffs with just another great catch by Farrell out in left.
Caroline Vedetto at the plate, the 1-1 pitch. It's bounced right back to the circle. Atherton there, and she fires to Tommaso at first, and it's 2 up and 2 down in the 4th.
No strikeouts on the day for Atherton so far. As I mentioned, she hasn't really been as dominant as far as strikeouts are concerned, but she's pitching to contact and she's using her defenders behind her, and sometimes that's all it takes. You don't have to strike everyone out, and she's doing a great job of that right now, getting the outs nonetheless.
Deals in strike 1 now to Emily Critch. And when you have a defense as good as Milford, no need to get your pitch count up unnecessarily high. Just allow your teammates behind you to make the plays. That's what Atherton has done today, and she's been extremely successful. Here's the 0-1 pitch, and that's low.
And obviously, like I mentioned, a lot of that has to do with a little bit of an uptick in competition. There's some great teams within the Hockomock League, but you play those bottom of the standing teams every now and then, sometimes twice a season. So when you get to the tournament, you're playing the best of the best. So she doesn't have the strikeout numbers, but she's still the great pitcher that she is, getting outs nonetheless, whether it be ground balls or fly balls or whatever it might be. Just a lot of weak contact, especially in this game.
Gets a swing and a miss from Critch. And it's a 1-ball, 2-strike count now. Atherton 1 strike away from another 1-2-3 frame. Here is the pitch. And instead it's popped up in foul ground. And that one off the fencing in front of the first base dugout. And Anthony, I believe again, Tommaso got tangled up with Silver Lake's first base coach.
Yeah, and she was very disappointed. She kind of stomped her feet a couple of times, looked right at the first base coach. I mean, the first base coach has the right to stand there, but they got to get out of the way, and it looks like she is making an effort, but a couple of those balls have just kind of been in that direction, and Tommaso has kind of had to tiptoe her way around. But a couple of plays so far in this game that could have gone either way. Would have been a tough play along that fence, but you never know.
Instead, this one is now dribbled down the third base line, but it is a foul ball. It's the first time I have ever seen the first base coach ever get involved in a play, and we've seen it now twice in the game, and you do now see the first base umpire did have a couple of words for Silver Lake's first base coach.
But at the same time, it's like, where is she supposed to go? I mean, a lot of times you might see a first base coach box over there with the chalk, but I don't see one down there.
As now this ball is hit in the air out to right field, settling underneath is Cormier. So in the end, the incidental interference from the first base coach proves to be harmless as Atherton enjoys yet another 1-2-3 inning. She's been mowing them down so far in this championship game. Milford with a 3-0 lead as they will now come to the plate for the top of the 5th inning next here on Milford TV. It is the top of the Milford order due up as we now enter into the 5th inning. This game speeding right along. Kate Irwin against Jill Richards. Irwin so far 1 for 2. Runs up to that first pitch but keeps the bat back as it was low for ball 1. Irwin reaching on an infield hit and eventually came around to score in that 3-run rally. Here she sends one to second. And a good throw, a quick play from Alex Ruprecht at second base to retire Kate Irwin for out number 1.
And it needed to be a quick release by Ruprecht to get the speedy Irwin, but it was just that. That ball was hit pretty hard off the bat of the speedy leadoff hitter for Milford. But good quick hands by Ruprecht to flip it over to Harris at first for the first out.
And now again we see that half bunt initially out of Pierre Gustavo, pulling the bat back and taking the called strike.
And I'm not a big fan of that, especially with Pierre Gustavo at the plate. It's like, if that pitch is a strike, you're basically, giving Richards an advantage. You're not going to swing at that when you're toying around with a bunt. And when you have Milford's arguably best hitter at the plate, you don't want to be toying around and just letting Richards get ahead in the count.
Here's the 0-2, and a wave and a miss and a very off-balance swing for Pierre Gustavo. She's not looked particularly comfortable at the plate after that monstrous game in the semifinals. She strikes out here for out number 2.
And it just kind of to my point, Tim, you let Richards get ahead in the count, then you dribble one foul, now you're down 0-2, and then you got to expand the zone a little bit, and you go fishing on a pitch that's down in the dirt.
And now this ball dribbled to the right side, and a tricky play as Farrell is able to beat it out, as there was a lot of confusion on the right side. You had both first baseman and second baseman going after the ball, then no one to cover the bag, and in the end, Farrell is safe to keep the inning going.
Well, the first baseman, Harris, dove for it, couldn't get it. Good backup by Ruprecht. Great range to her left to come away with it, but then there was no one there to cover first base. In baseball, you would see Richards, the pitcher, covering, but that's a long way from the pitcher circle, so once Harris dove and wasn't able to get up in time, there was really no shot for anyone to catch Farrell.
So a gift for Milford on the infield single. It keeps it going now for Jess Tommaso, who is due for a hit. Instead, she flies one out towards second base, and now right on. No, now the ball comes out of her glove as Farrell moves on to third, and Tommaso will reach. That was the shortstop, Videtto, even with the bag, and maybe losing concentration for just a moment as She was right in front of that second base bag, and she did not secure the ball long enough to record the out. And Milford now with runners at the corners.
And that's just a can of corn that time. A pop-up on the infield. 2 outs. Vedetto should squeeze that ball, but she drops it. Great hustle and awareness by Farrell to keep going. A lot of times you'll see base runners just jog, but that could prove to be a colossal mistake for the Lady Lakers.
And what looked like it could easily be another 1-2-3 inning for Richards now in some trouble as she has runners at first and third with 2 outs and a chance for Caitlin DeCapua, who is 2 for 2 with an RBI. Here's the pitch, and she sends it in the air down the right field line, but it's foul and out of play.
That is the first error for either side in this ball game, so what has really been tight defense for both Milford and Silver Lake. Just, I guess that got broken that time with the error by Vedetto, excuse me.
That pitch misses just inside. DeCapua taking the chance, letting that pitch go, but the umpire rules it a ball. Now a 1-2 count. Here's the pitch. And that is to second base, and an easy play. Ruprecht to Harris for the out that ends the inning. So Milford threatens, but they cannot tack on to the lead. They will carry their 3-0 advantage into the bottom of the 5th inning. Continuing coverage of the MIAA tournament right here on Milford TV. The Silver Lake dugout absolutely roaring as this bottom of the 5th inning is about to get underway. Atherton completing her warm-up tosses. Silver Lake looking to change their momentum in this game. We know this is a very fiery, passionate team. We've seen it in these previous 2 seasons as, again, covering a regular season matchup between these 2 teams back in 2015. We've covered playoff games between these 2 teams in 2015 and 2016. So this is our 4th opportunity to cover this rivalry. Silver Lake coming in with the 3-1 record in head-to-head meetings, but Milford with the 3-0 lead as we enter into the bottom of the 5th, where Allie Atherton will face Jill Richards, Anna Batista, and Alex Ruprecht, batters 4, 5, and 6. And the first pitch of the inning, and that one misses outside for ball 1.
Tim, it's almost fate that these 2 teams have played this is the 5th time in the last couple seasons. Back in 2013 and 2014, Silver Lake and Milford were 1 game away from playing each other in the playoffs. In 2013, they were 1 game away from matching up in the Division I South Finals. Silver Lake lost in the semis. Of course, Milford was able to win that district final and ultimately the state championship. And then in 2014, Milford lost in the preliminary round to Franklin. And then Silver Lake ended up playing Franklin and lost to Franklin. So they've been 1 game away the past couple seasons, and now we're seeing just a plethora of games between these 2 teams. So it's almost fate that they're playing such a bunch of games together these last couple seasons.
It's now a 2-ball, 1-strike count on Jill Richards, trying to get something going. The pitcher up there now on the right side at the plate. And now pops this ball up, racing into foul territory, both Tomaso and Hartman. And Milford able to make the catch. It looks like Tomaso, indeed, she pops it now out of her mitt as catcher and first baseman came together, but Jess Tomaso makes the play in foul ground for out number 1.
And Tim, no first base coach interference on that one. She was booking it out of the way, backpedaling over towards the outfield, giving Tomaso plenty of room, and we can see what she can do when she has the room, not interfering with the first base coach. Makes a great play along the fence, had to call off Hartman, but makes the play for the first out of the inning.
1 down, and now a foul ball off the bat of Anna Batista, aggressively swinging at that first pitch. Batista, a line out to second base her first time up. That was a terrific catch made by Maddie Bonvino, who leapt and right at the apex of that jump was able to make the catch. As that ball drops in too low.
Bringing in some physics terms there, Tim. Like, what? That was
it's the Division I South Finals. They've got to empty the vocabulary tank.
We're getting crazy. The apex of the jump, that was good.
Only bring those terms out in big playoff games.
Special occasions, yeah.
The next one on the way from Atherton, and that misses. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Next thing you know, the Milford TV crew will be calculating the exit velocity and the height off the ground, and geez.
Atherton ready with another pitch, and it's hit on the ground up the middle. A backhanded stab by Bonvino. Can she make the play to first? Not in time. And that is how Silver Lake gets their first base runner in this game. A slow roller up the middle. Bonvino did absolutely everything she could do, playing that one on the backhand, a quick throw to first, but Bautista just able to beat it out for an infield single. And after Allie Atherton pitched 4 1/3 perfect innings, she allows her first hit here in the 5th.
Well, naturally, any sports fan is going to hate to see the no-hitter, and as a matter of fact, the perfect game go away, but Atherton is still pitching a very effective ball game right now. I mean, still with a 3-0 advantage in this ball game. So Atherton, even though the first hit is now on the scoreboard for Silver Lake, she's just got to get back and concentrate and get this last out of the inning.
And obviously in softball, you don't have to worry about pitching from the stretch versus pitching from the full windup, but Atherton has not had to worry about base runners through this game, as now this ball is hit into foul territory. Another full sprint for Tommaso. That time the ball just didn't hang in the air long enough. But we'll see if Atherton is at all rattled here now with that one-out runner at first.
Well, luckily for Atherton, she's facing 6 and 7, potentially 8 in this Silver Lake lineup, so she's not facing the meat of the order to deal with this runner on first base. So in that sense, she's a little bit lucky.
Alex Ruprecht at the plate. She grounded out to second base her first time. Settles back in at the plate. Atherton stares into Hartman for the sign. Now the pitch. And it's grounded slowly again to Bonvino. She has to hustle the throw to first. This time, she's able to get it there in time. It looked like it could be trouble once it got past Atherton, but again, very quick reactions at second base from Maddie Bonvino to get out number 2. On the play, Bautista does advance to second base, so Silver Lake now with their first runner in scoring position.
It's the 6th time that Maddie Bonvino has had to deal with a potential Silver Lake hit. She's been perfect over there today. No errors in those 6 tries. Solid defense on the right side of the infield for Milford, and we've seen Tommaso make a couple good plays over there as well.
The inning now left up to Amanda Harris. They checked the swing on that first attempt, but they say she held up. A 1-ball, no strike count on the first baseman, Amanda Harris, who popped out back to Atherton her first time up. And now this one hit back to the circle. Atherton fields it cleanly. The toss to first base, and that is it. A 1-out infield single proves to be harmless. Atherton quickly pitches around it. Silver Lake able to get their first base runner, but that is all. We have now played 5 full innings from Jack Tripp Field here in Taunton High School, and it is Milford with a 3-0 lead on Silver Lake in the Division I South Championship game here on Milford TV. Already now into the top half of the 6th inning. Allie Atherton pitching a gem. Milford scoring 3 times back in the 3rd inning. They've made that lead hold up so far, as now Emily Hartman swings at the first pitch and pops it up weakly on the infield. No problem for the pitcher to make the catch. Emily Hartman now 0 for 3.
Hartman's been a little bit aggressive in this game. You have to wonder if, as an underclassman on this team, she's sensing some sort of nerves, but at least behind the plate, she's called an excellent game for Allie Atherton today, but at the plate, she's scuffling a little bit today, as you mentioned, 0 for 3.
And now here's Kelly Reichert, and she sends one on the ground back up the middle for a base hit. And that has to feel good for Kelly Reichert. She has struggled a little bit at the plate here through these playoffs, but now able to come through with a 1-out single.
Just her 2nd hit in these playoffs, but it must feel good, as you mentioned, Tim. And this is a big bat, especially if Milford can move forward. Getting production out of those 7, 8, 9 hitters in this Milford lineup will be crucial if they can advance over Silver Lake today, so getting her on track is going to be crucial.
And we'll have a courtesy runner now come out to replace Reichert at first as Antonia Bonina pops out of the dugout.
Bonina with no action in the batter's box this postseason has been used primarily as a pinch runner. She has crossed the plate 4 times when she's been used as a pinch runner, so nice to have speed on the base paths coming off the bench for the Lady Hawks.
And now a called strike one to Maddie Bonvino. She's batting 0 for 2 today, a strikeout and a pop out. 1 out deep now in the top of the 6th. And this ball swatted high in the air, but foul and out of play. And that one just eluding the grasp of a fan just in front of our camera setup down the third base line. Once again, our executive director, Rob O'Keefe, manning the action camera down the third base side.
Bonino with 1 steal over the course of the season. So not a major threat to run, but once the ball gets put in play, she can take off.
This ball sliced down the right field line, but that one just foul. Not by much, but just missing the chalk. Down that right field side, and the at-bat continues for Bonvino. Still down 0-2. The next pitch from Jill Richards, and this is hit hard up the middle. That's through for a hit. It takes a tricky bounce off the second base bag. Bonina now with a far turn around second base, and she retreats. Bonina rounding hard around second base, but was able to get back as Silver Lake got the throw back in from the outfield quickly.
Coach DeVito having to take a deep breath after that one. Almost had a quick runner thrown out at third base on a single by Bonvino. Had to turn around and collect himself after Bonino was able to scramble back in safely at second base.
Back-to-back base hits now for Milford. Puts 2 on ahead of Cormier, who takes the pitch high. Shannon 1 for 2. She has a run scored today. And now showing bunt, pulls it back to take ball 2. The winner of this game today will move on to the Division I state semifinal, where they will play the winner of the North Division I championship game. They will face the winner of Billerica versus Newton North. That game taking place tomorrow.
And that'll be right back here at Taunton High School, I believe, on Tuesday at 7 o'clock. I'm 99% sure.
That is the scheduled time for the Division I semifinal for the state bracket. In the meantime, a walk issued to the number 9 batter, Shannon Cormier. And that sets up a bases-loaded opportunity for Kate Irwin.
And this will be kind of an interesting at-bat for Irwin, not known for her power. You see a lot of those slap hits, laying down bunts for Irwin, using her speed. And not sure how effective that would be now, especially with what I would presume the infielders would play in. So if she's able to put one on the ground, 9 times out of 10, she's going to be safe at first, but getting one on the ground now is most likely going to result in a play at the plate, and it'll be a force out. So looking to get one in the air will be Irwin.
She is ready. Richards is ready. Here's the first pitch, and she is able to get it in the air. She floats it out to shallow left field, and it's down for a hit. Bonina crosses the plate on the RBI single for Kate Irwin, who leaps in the air at first base, driving in the 4th run of the day for Milford. They take a 4-0 lead.
Not hit particularly hard by Irwin, but right on cue, getting one in the air just far enough, kind of in no man's land between the left fielder Ruprecht and the third baseman Sylvester. But it gets the job done, padding this Milford lead 4-0.
And now some very big bats coming to the plate with the bases still loaded. Only 1 out in the inning. Pierre Gustavo up. A count of 1 ball and 1 strike. Pierre Gustavo has looked a little bit antsy at the plate through her first few at-bats. Going 0 for 3. She struck out her last time up. And now takes a pitch in the dirt. That one bouncing. Looked like it might have been an off-speed pitch from Richards, who might be feeling the pressure here.
She came into this game 6 for 9 so far in the postseason, so obviously it's tough to keep up that pace, but it's odd to see Emily Pierre Gustavo go 0 for 3 in a game. Let's see if she can turn it around with this at-bat, and what a spot it would be. Bases juiced.
The next one on the way, and that is in for a called strike 3. That floated in right at the top of the zone, a borderline pitch. And so a called strike 3. Pierre Gustavo strikes out for the 2nd time today, and a huge out for Richards. Now 2 down, but she must face the senior captain, Maggie Farrell, the lefty, ready to see the first pitch. She takes a hack and sends it foul over the backstop.
3 for 3 on the day for Farrell, including a couple of ribbies.
Already has a 2-run double to her credit today. She has already hit a grand slam in this 2017 MIAA tournament. Here's the 0-1, and it's in the air, out towards second base, settling underneath, and making the catch is Alex Ruprecht for the out to end the inning. So Milford ends up settling for just 1 run in the inning. They strand the bases loaded, and they will carry now a 4-0 lead into the bottom half of the 6th inning as we continue our coverage of the Division I South Championship game here on Milford TV. Milford with a chance to really put a crooked number on the scoreboard in that bottom half of the 5th inning. Instead, they settle for just the 1 run on the RBI single for Kate Irwin. Some big pitches thrown by Jill Richards, getting the strikeout of Emily Pierre-Gustavo and the pop out of Maggie Farrell. They had the bats up that they wanted in that situation, couldn't quite capitalize. But they do lead this game 4-0. They have 6 defensive outs left to get. And Allie Atherton will deal with batters 8, 9, and 1 in the bottom of the 6th. Hannah Mitchell, the designated player, to lead it off. And she swings and misses for strike 1.
Another big inning for Atherton after her team got her another run in the top of the inning. So again, we're looking for that shutout inning from Atherton.
Here's her 0-1 pitch, and that misses away. This is the 2nd straight year that Silver Lake has advanced to the Division I South Championship, last year matching up against King Philip. They lost to the Lady Warriors, and of course KP ended up going on to win the Division I State Championship. Here's a 1-1 pitch floated over the head of Tommaso, but that's a foul ball.
Silver Lake got their revenge this year against King Philip. That came back in the the quarterfinal round, beating the Lady Warriors by a score of 7-1.
It's a 1-ball, 2-strike count now on the DP, Hannah Mitchell. And now that one carved foul, narrowly missing a fan, ducking out of the way. Those fans packed in down the first base side. You can see the red-clad Milford fans over on the first base side. Of course, plenty of red spread out all around this field. Another 1-2 pitch, and that bounces.
Our camera operator, Rob O'Keefe, over there looks like a typical Milford or Silver Lake fan sporting the red shirt.
Yeah, really read the theme of the day with both of these teams sporting red in their uniform colors. Milford with the red, white, and black. Silver Lake with the red and silver.
He's trying to blend in, but I don't know with the tripod and the camera if he's going to be able to pull it off.
Mitchell just making contact to stay alive. Putting on a tough at bat to open this bottom of the 6th. It's a 2-ball, 2-strike count now. Mitchell is ready. The next pitch from Atherton, and it's tapped out down the right side, and again we'll see Tommaso make the play unassisted. So a good at bat from Mitchell, but Atherton wins the battle, inducing the ground ball to first for out number 1.
A lot of times it's easier to flip to the player covering. That would have been Bonvino, but so far today, Tommaso was elected to just do it herself, tagging the runner on her way down the line. Both ways are effective, whichever works. All that matters is you get the out.
Now ball 1 issued to Izzy Ruprecht, the left fielder, who grounded out also 3 unassisted. That concluded the 3rd inning. It's just her 2nd at bat today, as again, Silver Lake has had just 1 base runner against Atherton, an infield single that came last inning. And now a called strike. And really, Atherton inches away from still having a perfect game intact in this 6th inning. That play ever so close at first, a bang-bang play. Anna Batista able to just beat the throw, as now this ball is sent in the air. A shade onto the outfield grass where Maddie Bonvino is again there to make the catch. And it's 2 up and 2 down in the 6th. Milford now 4 outs away. As again, we'll see the top of the Silver Lake order, Kelly Danahy, who is 0 for 2. She grounded out to second base in the first inning, lined out to left in the 4th. I believe that was the play where Maggie Farrell made that catch, just robbing the ball from landing on the turf. A 1-ball, no strike count.
Silver Lake with a perfect season on the line in this game as well. So not only vying for a trip to the state semifinals, but also looking to improve their unbeaten record in this game. But right now trailing 4-0.
Silver Lake coming in 25-0 regular season and playoffs combined. Milford at 22-1.
That's okay. It's like average, right?
2 okay teams matching up in this Division I South final, as that one is a called strike. Brings the count to 2-1. The bases are clear. There are 2 down in the bottom of the 6th. The left-handed batting Danahy ready. Here's Atherton's pitch, and this is sent foul. And that time a nice grab made by the fans.
Threw it back on the field. You got to save that one after you make a nice catch. Barehanded too, no glove.
Should have at least turned to the camera.
Oh, absolutely.
Showed off the grab. Instead, promptly delivers it right back onto the field of play.
Well, as we mentioned, he couldn't see Rob because he's wearing the red shirt. He blends right in with everyone else.
Atherton winds and fires, and that pitch is high. The scoreboard reads a 3-1 count. Now they do adjust it. It is a full count on Danahy. And I believe this is only the second 3-ball count Atherton's been in today. Here is the payoff pitch, and that is high for ball 4. So Danahy able to work the 2-out walk, just the first free pass issued by Atherton, and just the second Silver Lake base runner of the day.
The first walk issued for either side in this ball game. Richards has avoided the free passes on her end, so both pitchers have really shown great command in that department, but Atherton has gotten the better of her counterpart to this point.
Gives Vedetto a chance. She swings at the first pitch and lines it to second. The catch is made by Maddie Bonvino, and quickly Allie Atherton able to erase the 2-out walk. We have now concluded 6 full innings from this Division I South Championship game. Milford with just 3 defensive outs left to get, but first they will come to the plate in the top half of the 7th inning. We will see that when we come back next on Milford TV. Quickly, the 7th inning gets underway as this ball is roped down the left field line, and first pitch swinging, Tommaso wastes no time collecting her first hit of the game, a leadoff single to pace the top of the 7th.
And Tim, she was doing this game 0 for 3 so far through the first 6 innings, but coming through with a big leadoff hit. And as I think you mentioned earlier in the ball game, no lead is a big lead against Silver Lake. They can put runs up in a hurry, especially when Allie Atherton is going to face 3, 4, 5 in the Silver Lake order in the bottom half of the inning. So Milford looking for a couple insurance runs, already up 4-0, but a great start here in the top of the 7th with Tommaso getting on.
And now DeCapua takes the first pitch up and away for ball 1. Caitlin DeCapua batting 2 for 3 on the afternoon with a run batted in. Now the 1-0 pitch, she lifts this one in the air out to center field. In a few steps is Danahy. She makes the catch. And DeCapua retired. And that brings the sophomore Hartman to the plate. Emily also due for a hit, 0 for 3 so far. Coming off of that 2-run homer she notched in the late innings here on Thursday. Once again, Milford in search of some late inning insurance, and Hartman hoping she can provide it once again as she digs in on the right side. Taking the first pitch for a strike, now sends this pitch down the left field line, but that is a foul ball.
There is some power in this sophomore bat if she can get a hold of one. We've mentioned the wind a couple times. She came through with a 2-run homer in Milford's last game against Hopkinton to propel them to a 6-3 win to get to this point.
The next pitch into Hartman, and she's able to make contact, sending it foul. Stays an 0-2 count. Tommaso at first after the leadoff single. She's there now with 1 down. And the pitch. Taking something off that one, but Richards missed high. Emily Hartman through the regular season batted .346. Sends another ball foul. She's the only player in this starting lineup without any previous experience. Actually, check that. Reichert, the only player in this lineup with no experience at the plate against Silver Lake. Hartman in her brief career against the Lakers is 0 for 2. Coming into this game, now sends that ball down the left field line again, foul. So 0 for 2 combined with her 0 for 3 so far today, so still in search of her first hit against the Lakers. Emily hanging tough down in the count. Takes a few moments backing out of the right side batter's box, now back in. Here's the pitch, the runner goes. A good throw down to second base, but not in time. Tommaso able to slide in. Jess Tommaso taking off. The pitch was a ball. And Tommaso in with the steal. Jess had just 1 stolen base coming into this game for 2017 as that ball misses inside. Again, Critch tried to frame it. And so Hartman working all the way back in this count. She was down 0-2, it's now full.
Hartman taking over this year to replace the senior Meg Jakes, and she's done so well.
And she lines this ball to third base. The catch is made there by Ari Sylvester. She hit it hard, but right at Sylvester at third. Tommaso able to dive back into the second base bag. 2 outs now, a runner in scoring position as Kelly Reichert will take her 4th at bat this afternoon. Kelly collected a hit in her last at bat, came around to score on the RBI single from Kate Irwin. Or I should say Antonia Bonina, the courtesy runner for Reichert, came around to score. As Reichert takes the first pitch low for ball 1.
Seen a lot of off-speed pitches in this inning from Richards. You have to wonder if she's getting a little fatigued in the circle.
Now missing high. And Reichert being a little more patient in this at-bat, jumps ahead in the count, 2-0. Nobody standing in either dugout. Anxiously watching this action unfold here in the top of the 7th as Reichert takes another pitch upstairs and now is in the driver's seat with a 3-ball, no-strike count. Richards' pitch, and that's a called strike. Kelly Reichert taking all the way. Kelly in 2017 with 18 runs batted in. Swings away and fouls it off into the protective netting behind the plate, and now the count is full. Jess Tommaso led off this inning with a first pitch base hit, advanced to second on a steal, and is now there with 2 outs in the inning. Milford looking for a little breathing room. Here's the payoff pitch, and it's in at the knees for a called strike 3. A big pitch from Richards. She collects her 6th strikeout of the game, so Milford strands another runner. And it's now 9 runners stranded in all for the Milford Lady Hawks, but they will carry a 4-0 lead into the 7th inning, 3 outs away from a district championship. Can they finish it off? We will find out when we come back next here on Milford TV. Milford's 2017 season began on April 7th of this year on this very field, Jack Tripp Field here in Taunton, a game that was supposed to be played in Milford, but due to field conditions in Milford, it was moved here to Jack Tripp Field. Milford taking on Taunton. It ended up being a disappointing 4-1 loss for Milford. And now they find themselves back here in Taunton in the playoffs of this 2017 year, standing now 3 outs away from a Division I South championship. But a tough part of this batting order awaits Allie Atherton in the 7th as she will face Emily Critch, Jill Richards, and Anna Batista, the 3, 4, and 5 hitters. Allie has been sensational in this Division I South final. She's allowed just 1 hit, a total of 2 base runners through the first 6 innings. She has not struck out a batter, but she hasn't needed to. The defense up to the challenge, Allie inducing a lot of weak contact, and will now face Critch, Richards, and Batista. Emily Critch, the catcher, will start it off. She is ready on the right side. And the first pitch of the inning is hit on the ground right back to the circle. Atherton to Tomaso. And with just 1 pitch, Atherton collects the first out here in the 7th.
And how ironic would it be if Milford can pull away with a district final championship right here on this same field that, as you mentioned, they started their season obviously not playing Taunton in this matchup, this being a neutral site game, but that was a disappointing loss. 2 of the better teams in the Hockomock, 2 of the better teams really in the entire state. So Milford has a chance now with only 2 outs remaining in this ballgame on Silver Lake side to come away with an astounding victory here against the Lady Lakers.
And of course, important to point out that that loss Milford suffered on opening day, the only loss they have suffered so far in 2017. Silver Lake perfect on the year, but that is in jeopardy now with 1 out and the bases empty in the 7th. Allie Atherton now facing her counterpart, Jill Richards. Ahead in the count, 2 balls and no strikes. Atherton winds and fires, and this is a ground ball hit to third to Capua. On a couple of bounces, she's able to fire to first, and Milford now just 1 out away. Richards retired on the 5-3 ground out. 2 outs and the base is empty, and Silver Lake's season now resting on the shoulders of their right fielder, Anna Batista. And only fitting as Batista is the only player who has notched a hit against Allie Atherton here this afternoon. It was a dribbler up the middle. She was able to beat the throw from Maddie Bonvino. That is the only hit the Lady Lakers have had here today. Milford with a 4-0 lead. And the first pitch in misses away for ball 1.
Richards certainly in the last at-bat hasn't performed to an all-star MVP caliber level today. 4 runs in the circle and an 0-for-3 performance at the plate. So it'll take something from Batista to extend this ball game.
Here's the 1-0 and misses outside once again. Batista also lined out to second base in the 2nd inning before collecting that infield base hit. Just 1 hit and 1 walk for the Lakers here this afternoon. Here's the 2-0, and that's in for a strike. The Milford fans on the edge of their seat, the Silver Lake fans hoping for a miracle. But everyone on edge here at Jack Tripp Field as Batista digs back in on the right side. Atherton on the rubber, the windup, and the 2-1 pitch. And that is in for a called strike 2, and Milford now 1 strike away from sealing a victory here in the D1 South Finals. And before another pitch is thrown, Emily Pierre-Gustavo in for a couple of words, and a high five exchanged with her starting pitcher now returns to the shortstop position. Atherton fires the ball back and forth in the mitt. And now stands back in the center of the circle. 2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs. Here is the pitch, and it's grounded right back to Atherton. She has it. She throws to first, and the Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks are the Division I South champions. Everyone pig piles on the pitcher's circle. A dominant performance from start to finish for the Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks. They came up short against Silver Lake in 2015, again in 2016, but not the case here in 2017 as Milford, from start to finish, outclassed Silver Lake here today, and they earn a 4-0 victory, and Milford is the Division I South District champions. They will hang a banner in the Milford Gym for this victory here today. And Anthony, what a performance here out of the Lady Hawks.
It was really a great performance. We talked about it. It was really a revolving theme over the course of the entire game. Milford looking for revenge against a very stingy Silver Lake team. The Lakers have had their number over the past couple seasons, but Milford was able to come out today, and it all comes down to the starting pitching. Allie Atherton struggled to her standards in last game against Hopkinton. Only 1 strikeout. She's usually dominant in that category. Allowed 3 runs, albeit only 1 of them was earned. She allowed 10 hits, 3 walks, but not in this game. 7 shutout innings, only allowing 1 hit. And how fitting is it that a little dribbler back to her, she flips it on to Tommaso. She records the final out of this ball game. Just an excellent performance by Allie Atherton. The offense was behind her.
And the 3 senior captains in this Division I South Championship game shining on the biggest stage of their high school careers. Maggie Farrell with a 2-run double in this game. Caitlin DeCapua with an RBI single. And Allie Atherton, the story of this game, pitching the game of her life. A complete game, 1-hit shutout. Just 1 dribbler away from a no-hitter. She walked 1 in the game. She did not strike out a batter, but was absolutely in command of this game. And now an award presentation to take place out on the infield as you see both teams lined up. The trophy now placed out in front of the pitcher's circle. As we hope to get some up-close shots as now our cameraman Malcolm Zale enters the field of play as Milford now, the entire team getting hugs down the line from head coach Steve DeVito. What a performance he just saw out of his team. A performance for the ages as there is some up-close shots of this Lady Hawks team. Plenty of emotion riding down that first base line. And so now Silver Lake getting their congratulations. And again, you have to give a lot of credit to Silver Lake for what they accomplished this year. Going 25-0 en route to this Division I South Championship, but meeting a tougher opponent here in the Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks, who now receive their recognition. Silver Lake will end their season at 25-1. Milford now improves to 23-1. And the captains now, the 3 senior captains, getting handshakes from the representatives from the MIAA, and they will receive their Division I South Championship trophy. And pausing now for a photo op, it looks like Milford principal Carolyn Banach also there on the field along with athletic director Peter Boucher, capturing this moment as Milford now all crowds around that championship trophy. A terrific performance here today for a team that has fought hard right from day one this season, believing in each other every step of the way. And Anthony, just such a tremendous accomplishment here to stand on this field as Division I South champions.
Well, first of all, congratulations to Silver Lake on a very successful season, 25-1. I mean, that's nothing to laugh at, or that's just a very solid season. Unfortunately, however, that 1 loss came in the very last game of their season, in maybe one of the biggest games of the season. Milford was just really the better team throughout this entire game. The pitching was a lot better on the Milford side. The hitting was a lot better on the Milford side. Just a really dominant performance. And after a close game against Hopkinton, you needed to come out. And if they wanted to advance, you needed to come out and have a game like this. And even looking forward, now obviously now Milford is going to play in the semifinals of the state tournament on Tuesday here at Taunton at 7 o'clock. They're going to use this momentum and carry that over into this game. We're not sure who they're going to be playing yet, but it doesn't matter. Milford is going to have to use this same intensity and pitching and offense and defense. The defense, we haven't talked about that much. That's been a big factor. That kind of gets overlooked when you have Atherton and Farrell coming through the way they did today, but they're going to use all 3 aspects of the game, carry that momentum into the state semifinals here on Tuesday.
That will come up on Tuesday night at 7 o'clock, where Milford will face either Billerica or Newton North, the Division I North champion. That champion will be crowned tomorrow. But in the meantime, a celebration as Milford earns this district title here in 2017. A great effort here today for the Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks. We will effort to get some post-game interviews for you, but in the meantime, we'll break away from our coverage. A big thank you to our Milford TV crew on hand, an all-star crew for this Division I South Championship game. Our director, John Giacomuzzi, our camera operators, Rob O'Keefe and Malcolm Zale, and for Anthony Mazzini, I am Tim Coet. The final score, one final time, Milford defeats Silver Lake by a score of 4-0, and the Lady Hawks are the Division I South champions. This has been a presentation of Milford High School Athletics here on Milford TV. So long, everybody. We are joined now by the starting pitcher of this Division I South Championship game, Allie Atherton. Allie, no big deal. You only just pitched the game of your life out here today. How does that feel for you?
It feels amazing. I mean, I had a great defensive wall behind me. They didn't let anything through today, and that was a huge factor in this game. That was the key to winning this game, was our defense today.
You've pitched on this field now 3 times this year, including just a couple of days ago. How's it felt for you? Has there been anything different about these conditions here versus what you experienced over in Milford?
Not really. I mean, a field's a field to me. Like, I know this field very well. We've played here multiple times, even in past years. So I just went out there and I threw my game today. Yeah, we came ready to play, and there weren't any factors against us, I feel like.
This is the 5th time you've pitched against Silver Lake in your varsity career. The previous outings, I'm sure you would say, did not end up the way that you had intended. This one very different here today. What was different for you working against this Lakers offense?
I think I just knew the offense very well. I mean, a lot of that team is seniors, so we started out together as freshmen. Like, we all came into high school at the same time. So, I mean, they know me, but I know them too. So I knew how to throw to these girls today. I came ready. I mean, we had a nice scouting report from the last game because we stayed and watched, so I knew what I wanted to throw coming into this game. I was thinking about it on the bus. I knew how these girls were going to hit the ball, so.
All 3 senior captains were a crucial part of this win. Maggie and Caitlin driving in runs, your performance on the circle. What does that mean to you guys to be such big parts of this win?
I think we've all grown up so much since freshman year. We never expected to be here, I don't think. But this season, me, Maggie, and Caitlin, we became like a little family together. We ran this team. We helped us get here, so I think that we deserve it. The whole team deserves it. We all did well today.
You will be back on this field one more time for the Division I semifinals on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Any expectations for that game right now?
I think we're going to come out. We're going to play like we did today. We're going to be ready to go. We're going to have good practices this week. We're going to work hard, and we're going to play our game like we always do.
Congratulations on the win, Allie.
Thank you very much.
By one of the offensive heroes in this game, the senior captain, Maggie Farrell. Maggie, you continue to hit the ball hard all playoffs long, a crucial 2-run double in this game. How did that at bat feel?
I felt great. Knowing those 2 runners were on, I couldn't leave them on the base. Just kind of keep your head on the ball and hit it.
Once again, facing off against Silver Lake in the playoffs, but this game had a completely different feel, seemed like a completely different energy about your team coming into this championship game. What was different in this matchup against Silver Lake versus the previous ones we've seen?
Today, obviously, it's a championship game, so we're all fired up and ready to go. But I think this year especially, this was our time to go.
Your defense played spectacular all game. We saw some huge plays made, including you pulling one just off the turf earlier on in the game. Defensively, just talk about the work this team has put in all season and all coming to the surface here today.
I'm so proud of how everyone did in this game, especially defensively. We worked so hard at practice, just getting in the ton of ground balls, ton of fly balls, and even like when we're just taking BP, we're always trying to make plays. It's not just relaxed. So I'm very impressed by how we did today.
You think back to how the season started. You guys had to come down here to play that game against Taunton. Your only loss of the regular season, now coming back here, winning 2 games in the playoffs. How does that feel?
It's a great feeling. It's amazing.
You'll be back here one more time on to the state semifinals on Tuesday. You'll face either Billerica or Newton North. Any expectations for you about what you think you might face against that North champion?
Honestly, I don't know anything about either team. I'm sorry. I'm just excited to keep going. I can't wait to see how the game goes on Tuesday.
Well, enjoy the celebration with your teammates. Congratulations, Maggie.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I'm joined now by the slightly damp head coach of the Milford Lady Hawks, Steve DeVito. Coach, you took the Gatorade bath there at the end of the game, but I'm sure you don't mind after the performance you saw out of your team here today.
I was able to dodge at first, and then I just kind of conceded and said that's fine. Yeah, what a great team win, huh? we looked at the other day and we said, we didn't come out and play our best game. And Allie, she said the same thing. She didn't throw her best. And man, was she good today. And was our defense rock solid today and had those timely hits. Maggie Farrell again coming through. And your seniors carry you. Your seniors carry you. And they did a great job of that today.
And we've already talked to both Allie and Maggie, but really your senior captains shined the brightest when the stakes were the highest here in this championship game. I know how close you are to those players, having been with them for their entire varsity careers, but to see them all go out and execute the way they did, that has to feel good.
Yeah, it's an emotional thing because, you see them for 4 years. When you start the program coming back, and it's I get emotional because of where we started is when they were freshmen, coming off of, the big runs that they had in 13, and everyone saying that the program was done, and those three girls, I've been through thick and thin with them for 4 years, and finally hit the pinnacle and up now at the top in the district, and I know they're not done because we're going to face a great opponent here on Tuesday night, and we've got to be ready to come back and play. But yeah, they're a great group, and what a team! What an absolute team effort.
These matchups against Silver Lake have been epic battles over the last couple of years, and Milford only with one win in your first 4 tries and missing out on playoff games against Silver Lake the previous 2 years. But it felt like something was different here today. The team had a very different feel to them going up against the Silver Lake team. Did you feel heading into this game that something was going to be different?
Yes. Tim Walsh has been saying it now running on 2 months. That there's no one that is going to stop us. And on the bus today, and we talk about it all the time, getting on the bus. What do we think about today? What do we think about today? And his words were perfect. Allie's going to throw a gem, and we're going to win the game. And Nostradamus, I guess. But that was just it. It was a fantastic game today. 2 great teams. That's a hell of a team over there. They weren't 25-0 accidentally. Great game, great team, and I guess we get to move on Tuesday night.
And so it'll be either Billerica or Newton North. They'll play the Division I North Championship game tomorrow. I know you're usually very prepared. Any kind of scouting report on either of those teams so far?
Yeah, actually a couple of our girls play with Maddie Schaefer, who is the Newton North pitcher. So, we know a couple of them over there. And Billerica's had a nice run through the top part of that North bracket. So no matter who we play, listen, they're going to be a district champion, and we know they're going to be a great test, a great battle. And, we'll take a look at who we've got and prepare starting tomorrow and back to work on Tuesday.
Well, I'm sure that you'll be back to the grindstone tomorrow, but in the meantime, enjoy it today. Congratulations on the win, Coach.
Thanks, Tim.